Hi everyone, episode 10 of Tim Talks. I've got a special feature for you. I speak to three absolute superstars from the women's game. That's Hayley Raso, Steph Catley, and Alanna Kennedy. They all play for the Matildas, and right now, Australia and New Zealand are bidding for the 2023 Women's World Cup. They take me behind the scenes and give me their thoughts on why they should both get it and also the processes of how much the women's game's grown. They've all played in World Cups, Olympic Games, they've won titles, they're captains, they're leaders, and I'm so proud of them. But this is the opportunity to hold one of the biggest tournaments in the world on my home soil, their home soil, and also share it with New Zealand on making something so amazing to help boys and girls follow their dreams. So now is a big time for football in Australia. Currently now going for the bid, and the announcement is minutes away. How do you feel about it? Like, what is going on? What are your emotions?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm really nervous. I feel like we've got a really, really good chance and we've done everything right. But I suppose just with FIFA, and you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. So I think that's why I'm a little bit nervous. And I think because I want it so much for Australian football and obviously the Matildas, which I'm a part of. Personally, it would just be a dream come true, and it would be so massive for football in general in Australia.
I think obviously women's football has come a long way in the last couple of years, but I think us, if I'm just talking about the Matildas and speaking from my own experiences, it's how far we've come over the past couple of years, and how well we've done to put ourselves on the map. And I know obviously our games against New Zealand are always hard as well, and I love the rivalry there, and to be able to, like you said, join forces and bring football to this part of the world, it just make our sport so much bigger in Australia.
With the Women's World Cup bid, Australia, New Zealand, what would this mean for you, the country, New Zealand, to get this World Cup?
Yeah, it's really an incredible thought to basically host the biggest competition in women's football and men's football in your home country. And for us, it's exciting because we would have our friends, our family, all of these people there to watch us. But at the same time, it would really grow the game and grow women's football and women's sport in general in Australia. So for us, it's just a thought that is so exciting that we could really potentially host it. And you look at how passionate we are to wear the jersey, and just knowing that young girls and boys watching would have a vision and, something that they could look up to.
You've played in 2 World Cups, so Canada, France. I was there to witness it. It was amazing in France. Why should Australia and New Zealand get this World Cup?
I mean, yeah, as you said, I've been to 2 World Cups in 2 different countries, and you obviously see a lot of how they go about, doing a World Cup. And I just think Australia and New Zealand, their cultures. I'm a little biased being Australian, but I feel like we're a very welcoming culture. The infrastructure, the stadiums, the facilities in general. I think the country just has everything.
I think one of the really important things that I think about is that we're role models, and a lot of people look up to us. Like you said, your daughter looks up to Steph Catley, and I think we're really approachable, and we always spend our time with the fans and giving back to those who support us. So I think that's so important when you look at the young kids who are looking up to us and aspiring to be like us, that we're kind of paving the way.
Your first game for the Matildas was against New Zealand in 2012. What is it like now that you have joined forces to win the Women's World Cup bid for 2023?
Yeah, I think obviously initially we went in on our own, and to now have joined and strengthened our bid with them is pretty exciting. New Zealand is obvious, I'm sure you know as well, they're the frenemies. But in the big scheme of things, I guess, we working together to bring a World Cup here would be amazing for us as footballers to play. I don't think we've played many games of significance in in Australia. They've all been friendlies, but yeah, to be able to play in front of our friends and family on the biggest scale for our sport, and for young girls to be able to see that in Australia and aspire to be like that would be just amazing.
And tell me about your best moment as a Matilda. Tell me like what you dreamt of as a kid. There must be so many, but surely there's a few that you can remember. I know there's World Cups, but there's got to be moments, you know, when you won a game or playing in front of tens of thousands in Canada. Tell me about your best moments.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, there's so many. But the one that really sticks out for me is probably in Canada, because it was my first World Cup. We played against the US in our first game. Crowd was sold out. It was a huge stadium. The build up to it was just so big that it was everything that I had expected a World Cup to be. And I think the realization of that, as you said, me as a kid dreaming of playing at a World Cup, that was my moment. And that was exactly what I had imagined. And it was incredible. And even, you know, starting the game, the first half we played was some of the best football we've played, you know, up until that point. And we probably should have been a couple of goals up, but Hope Solo played probably the best game of her career and, you know, saved a few. But yeah, for me, that's the moment that sticks out.
Hayley Raso gets ready for a game. She's walking onto the pitch to sing the national anthem. Talk me through that mindset and the feeling, because I know that feeling, but talk me through your mindset in that moment.
I think that moment to me is one of the most special moments. The singing of the anthem, you kind of sit there and embrace it all, and you know, everybody in the crowd, you can feel that they're behind you, and you know that you've got that jersey on and you're about to represent your country. It's just a moment of pride, and it's one that I think singing the anthem really gets you pumped up and kind of gets you ready, and then you know you're about to go out there and, you know, give your everything for the country.
For me, that's one of my biggest moments. I remember Mila Jednak, Maddie Ryan on this side of me, another player on the other, and I could always hear Maddie in my ear screaming it out. I used to sing it, and it used to make me quite emotional. Those sorts of moments before the game, is that like the calm before the storm for you? Yeah,
I think so. And I notice with our girls, we all sing the anthem too. Like, we're obviously extremely passionate about it, but the person that stands out to me, like you said, is Melissa Barbieri. She always sung that anthem so loud with so much pride. And I just loved seeing it and loved hearing it and seeing, you know, how excited she was and how passionate she was.
Where my focus was trying to just soak in that moment before the game with the national anthem, and making sure.
Are you emotional? Are you quite emotional?
No.
Do you sing the national anthem, or do you scream it? Like, you know, I was talking about Maddie Ryan to Steph, Catley, and a few of the girls. I love listening to him, you know, next to me, so powerful. Yeah. Whereas I just sung it quietly, but, you know, inside I was always crying of joy, you know, because of the emotions.
Yeah, I think I'm probably more towards what you're saying about yourself. I'm not, I don't like to scream it, but I always sing it. We actually, you know, as a team, we always like to make sure that we sing it, and that we're proud. And, but yeah, I'm always singing it, looking for my family, and just trying to, soak up the moment, I guess. You know, we get to see the flag in front of it. And I think it's just a reminder of what you're actually there for, and what the magnitude of what you're doing, and that you are representing a country. And those are really proud moments.
2019, May 14th, you got named vice captain. Just tell me how that feels, because now you're a pivotal role in the team. Very rarely do we see your name not on the team sheet, and you're one of the team leaders. Tell me the importance of your role and that moment as well.
Yeah, that was a pretty incredible moment. I've been a part of the leadership group for a fair few years now in the Matildas, so I've sort of become accustomed to a leadership role in a sense, but to be an out-and-out vice captain and named, you know, a specific leader in the team was pretty amazing for me. I think it was just nice to sort of be appreciated for some of my sort of unique qualities, I suppose, that I bring to a team. Like leadership can be seen in different ways. Some people are sort of loud and dominating, whereas, I think I bring a different type of leadership to a team where I sort of work one-on-one, and I like the individual relationships, and my leadership really comes out on the field more so than off the field. So I think the balance that I have with Sam in that sense works really well for our team, because we sort of have different leadership styles and complement each other in different ways. So it's something that I'll forever be extremely proud of. Leading a country, there's not much more you can ask for.
Yeah, exactly. What type of leader are you as a captain? Like, do you find yourself in a new environment where you're like, wow, are you a leader with actions? That's something that I feel like I have a strong trait. I've played with amazing captains that are great with their voice and setting the example, like Phil Neville, Mikel Arteta. What type of captain are you?
I think for me, I always like to make sure that I'm doing my job so that I have the right to tell other people to do theirs as well. So it's important to me that I'm a consistent player and that I'm doing my role. And so I guess I'm someone who, I like to be quite supportive, but obviously as a defender for the Matildas, I'm having to talk and communicate a lot. So I think that would be another one of my roles. But then obviously off the field, I like to just be someone who mingles with the girls and who people that I'm approachable and that I support them. And I think, to be fair, that's pretty, that's sort of how it is across the whole team. But I'd say that's probably my qualities as a leader, is making sure that my actions are sort of valid for that position.
And how about how the game's evolved in the women's game? Like for you, the professional setup, I know behind the scenes, the levels of training, the amount of video sessions, the nutrition, the way you girls get monitored, the same as the men's team. Give me a little bit of insight into that, so the boys and girls can understand the level that you are working at to compete highest level.
Yeah, it's obviously to play at the top level, you need to be a professional, and it's basically about being a professional 100% of the time. Kind of, even when you're back home in your own environment, you've got to make sure that you're staying at the top, eating the right foods, training appropriately, keeping yourself fit. So I think it's just all those little 1%ers that you do when people aren't watching as well, because obviously when you're in your team environment, you're at that top level all the time. You're having your meals as a team and training as a team. But I think the important thing is just doing those extras too when you're away from your club or team environment.
Tell me about your favourite moment as a Matilda. Obviously there'll be a few, but there's got to be a few favourite moments that when you were playing.
I think my favourite moment was when I scored that goal after I came back from my back injury. It was just was really emotional for me, and I'd worked so hard to get myself back into that team environment, and just coming on as a sub was exciting enough, let alone scoring. It was basically, for me, it was like I would have dreamt that my return would have been like that, and it just played out exactly that way.
It's so amazing because women's football, men's football is so inclusive. And one of the things that I'll never forget is the impression that you left on my daughter, Sienna. Like, still to this day, she loves football, she plays football, and she talks about you and all the girls that made it special for her. Do you get a sense of what you girls are doing in Australia and internationally now?
To be honest, it's hard to get a real sense. When you hear stories like that, I had no idea that I left any kind of impression on Sienna. So that's lovely to hear. But it's not until you have those one-on-one conversations with people who tell you about, their daughters or their sons or whoever who idolizes you. I don't think you do realize the impact you have. But in saying that, it's so important that we do, because kids are watching every step, and they're inspired by footballers, and they're inspired by what we do. So we obviously have a massive role to play. But yeah, I still to this day don't think I realize the impact that women's football is having on little girls in particular.
The type of player you are, the energy, you're like a warrior. You have so many amazing attributes, but I just wanted to hear your point of view on those attributes.
I think the word I would just use would probably be like fighter. I feel like I'm aggressive, and I kind of give 100% all of the time, and coming back from injuries, you can see that with that, but also just the way I play is kind of the same. It's aggressive and it's fast paced, and I kind of am always giving 100%, I think.
What has been your favourite moment playing for your country?
I feel like I have so many, but probably there's been a few sort of like big moments in terms of the games. I think when we beat Brazil in the 2015 World Cup, in the dying minutes of the game, that was a pretty big moment. Similar to when we qualified for our first Olympics, or my first Olympics, in Japan. But then I think, honestly, the most special games are the ones that you play at home in front of your friends and family. So I think that's another reason why us coming, having this bid and having the World Cup in Australia would be amazing, because obviously it's not often that you get to play in a home, not many players get to say that they've played in a home World Cup, and being able to share that with their friends and family. So those games are probably the most special ones.
Now this one is the last one.
Okay.
And I want real, right? I want you to be real now. What will be your reaction if we win the World Cup bid?
Oh, this is stitch up.
No, if we win the World Cup bid, I'm going to be like, yes, see, that's the one. Okay, now this is serious, right? What's your reaction when we win the World Cup, if we do win the World Cup bid?
Like, you want me to tell you how I feel? You actually want to see my reaction?
I want to see your reaction. I know what mine is.
Oh, I don't. No, I can't.
I'm
What
going to
do
be
you
like
mean?
this. What? You what?
Do you actually want me to do like?
Yeah, I want that, because Steph was doing this and that, but I just want to know what your reaction would be, because your reaction might be tears, crying, it might be sitting in shock. But
I probably have the jersey running around the house going.
Okay, I want to see that on Instagram stories. Last one, and I need you ready for this one. What is going to be your reaction when Australia win the 2023 World Cup bid with New Zealand?
Oh gosh, it'd probably be like, hey, yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'll be stoked. Honestly, I don't know. Hey, I'll be stoked.
Me too. To be honest, I asked the girls this question at the start. They were like, really? And then after, they're like this, and they're like this, and like that. If you enjoyed that video, consider subscribing to FTBL. And if you're not convinced yet, why not take a look at some of these other videos we've made just for you.